For months, Red Bull have been surrounded by uncertainty heading into the biggest regulation reset in modern Formula One history, a brand new power unit built with Ford. The departure of Adrian Newey, senior leadership figures walking away, and a grid full of rivals convinced that 2026 would finally be the moment Red Bull fall back to the pack. But now, the narrative is changing and fast. Inside the paddock, Red Bull's internal tone has shifted from damage limitation to cautious confidence. Journalists are hearing different whispers. Engineers are speaking differently. And most importantly of all, Max Verstappen no longer sounds like a driver preparing an exit strategy. If you want to understand why this matters, why it could reshape the entire 2026 title fight, and why this video might completely change how you see Red Bull's future, make sure you're subscribed right now. The 2026 Formula One season is not just another regulation change for Red Bull Racing. It is a defining moment that will determine whether this team remains a powerhouse or begins a slow decline. For the first time since their arrival in Formula One back in 2005, Red Bull are entering a new technical era without Adrian Newey. For nearly 2 decades, Newey's vision shaped every championship-winning concept, every aerodynamic breakthrough, and every dominant car philosophy the team produced. His absence alone would be enough to raise serious concerns, but the changes do not stop there. Over the past 18 months, Red Bull have lost an extraordinary amount of senior leadership. Christian Horner, Helmut Marko, Jonathan Wheatley, and Rob Marshall, figures who defined Red Bull's culture, decision-making, and race day execution, have all moved on. To many inside the paddock, this looked like a slow dismantling of the structure that made Red Bull so formidable. When you combine that with a brand new power unit built in partnership with Ford, the early outlook for 2026 appeared bleak. 12 months ago, even internal conversation suggested Red Bull could be in serious trouble. Some believed their power unit might start the season near the back of the grid. But according to respected F1 journalist John Noble, something significant has changed since then. Red Bull's internal messaging has shifted. The tone is no longer fearful. It is cautiously optimistic. While Mercedes are still widely expected to lead the field under the new regulations, Red Bull no longer see themselves as outsiders. There is now genuine belief that they will be competitive and possibly far closer to the front than anyone anticipated. That shift in confidence matters because the 2026 power unit rules are among the most complex Formula One has ever introduced. Performance will no longer be defined by raw engine power alone. Battery efficiency, energy harvesting, deployment strategies, fuel chemistry, and compression ratios will all play crucial roles. One manufacturer may have a superior battery, but a weaker internal combustion engine. Another may excel in fuel efficiency, but struggle with electrical deployment. In such a finely balanced formula, even 1 or 2 tenths of a second per lap could decide championships. Ferrari, despite their reputation, are believed to be facing internal challenges with their new engine concept. Honda have growing concerns over battery performance, which offers unexpected reassurance for Red Bull after ending their partnership with the Japanese manufacturer. Audi, meanwhile, have deliberately played down expectations, hinting that their focus may be more long-term than immediate success. Against this backdrop, Red Bull's recruitment strategy begins to make sense. Over the last few years, they have aggressively signed engineers from both Honda and Mercedes to build their Powertrains division in Milton Keynes. This blending of engineering philosophies could prove decisive. There are even strong rumors that Red Bull and Mercedes may have independently discovered the same loophole within the 2026 engine regulations, specifically involving compression ratios. That is true, it would offer a small but critical advantage. And in an era where margins are expected to be incredibly tight, small advantages can define the entire pecking order. On the sporting side, Max Verstappen enters 2026 in unfamiliar territory. For the first time since 2021, he will not carry the number 1 on his car. Despite a remarkable comeback during the second half of 2025, he lost the championship to Lando Norris by just 2 points. Internally, Red Bull know that defeat was not Verstappen's fault. It was the car's lack of competitiveness before the summer break that cost them the title. Despite the disappointment, Verstappen chose to stay. Throughout 2025, he was heavily linked with Mercedes and Aston Martin, and those rumors have not disappeared. If Red Bull are not competitive in 2026, those conversations will return quickly. apologize. But former world champion Damon Hill believes Verstappen's behavior late last season tells a deeper story. Hill argues that if Red Bull were truly lost heading into the new regulations, Verstappen would already be voicing frustration and applying pressure. Instead, he finished the season praising the team, lifting morale, and speaking with pride about their fight back. That does not sound like a driver preparing an exit. It sounds like someone who believes in what is coming. Red Bull may have lost famous names, but the organization itself has not collapsed. They fought until the final races of 2025 under enormous pressure, and that competitive DNA remains with Gianpiero Lambiase staying as Verstappen's race engineer and a positive working relationship forming with new team principal Laurent Mekies. Stability exists where it matters most. The story of 2026 is still being written in the wind tunnels and dyno rooms of Milton Keynes. While rivals brace for a power shift, Red Bull, against all odds, seem to be steadying the ship. The whispers of crisis have been replaced by whispers of potential. The confidence of their star driver is the clearest signal of all. The fall from the top is never graceful, but Red Bull are showing every sign that they are not ready to fall. They are ready to fight, and with Max Verstappen believing in the project, any team hoping to capitalize on their turmoil should think again. The chase is on. The real truth will only be revealed once the cars hit the track in Australia. If Red Bull are anywhere near the front, Verstappen's long-term future suddenly looks far more secure. If they are not, the driver market could explode once again with Mercedes, Aston Martin, and even Ferrari watching closely. One thing is certain, Red Bull are no longer the obvious victims of the 2026 reset, and Max Verstappen may already know exactly why. So the question now is this: have Red Bull quietly rebuilt their strength just in time for the biggest regulation change of all? Or are we about to witness the beginning of the Max Verstappen transfer saga all over again? Let me know what you think in the comments below.
Ooh, I like
Huh?
Very nice. That's actually very nice.
Yeah.
This blue is very nice.
No,
Nice.
it is. Right?
No, it's
And I
nice.
just-
It's very nice. They made a mistake with your flag. It needs to be like this, huh?
Wait, what?
That's
It's
true,
all the same color. Actually.